A huge discovery in South America raises questions about early human history in the region.
Why would they come here? With the dry conditions, limited resources, and low oxygen, it's not exactly a welcoming environment.
A terrifying discovery deep within a Saudi Arabian cave leaves experts searching for answers.
Could they be here as victims, or were they the predators themselves?
A haunting audio phenomenon found in the Gobi Desert is baffling travelers and scientists alike.
It's almost unbelievable that it's actually happening. But where could the sound be coming from?
Astonishing discoveries unearthed from the depths of the desert. Ancient lost cities. Forgotten treasures. Mysterious structures. Extraordinary curiosities, once lost to the sands of time, are finally exposed. As new technology uncovers remarkable tales hidden beneath the deserts of the world, the secrets in the sand will finally be revealed. In the Puno district of southern Peru, high up in the Andes Mountains, is Lake Titicaca. Covering around 8,300 square kilometers, this immense lake is the largest body of fresh water in South America.
The lake and basin are thought to have been created millions of years ago, when a huge earthquake rattled this part of the Andes. And it sits at an astounding 3,800 meters above sea level.
The highlands in the Lake Titicaca Basin are really inhospitable. It's cold and dry, and because of the altitude, there isn't much oxygen in the air.
It's a largely treeless, resource-thin environment. But despite this, the area has a rich human history dating back thousands of years.
Around 30 kilometers west of the shore of Lake Titicaca, a local man discovers a scattering of artifacts buried in the sandy ground.
He keeps coming across ancient projectile points on his land, so he asks archaeologists working nearby to come and have a look.
Excavating an area of around 37 square meters at about 30 centimeters deep reveals dark stains where the earth has been blackened by ash from fires.
This indicates a human presence from hundreds, possibly even thousands of years ago.
The discovery is made near Muya Fasiri, a community of the Aymara people. The Aymara are a large indigenous group who have lived in this region since before the Inca took control in the 15th century CE.
Nowadays, the Aymara number around 3 million people, spread out across Peru, Bolivia, Argentina, and Chile. They're mostly herders and farmers, despite living in harsh environments high up in the Andes.
Their lands became a vital part of the Incan Empire, but they weren't pushovers and regularly revolted against the Inca. So maybe this is an old Aymara site?
The team eventually uncovers more than 20,000 artifacts, but about 40 centimeters below the ground, something else grabs their attention.
It's human remains, a body in a flexed position, oriented towards the east. Buried with it are two projectile points. One is near the pelvic area, and the other is touching the right forearm.
Based on the skull and jawbone, it's determined that this is a male, and the dental wear patterns indicate that he was between 25 and 30 years old when he died.
Given the style of the projectile points that they found, it's estimated that the remains are between 7,000 and 9,000 years old, predating the Aymara by thousands of years. So who were these people?
Further excavation of the site, now named Willamaya Pata, reveals another 4 burial sites containing human remains. But unlike the first grave, they don't contain any artifacts.
This lack of grave goods isn't really that surprising. These people were likely hunter-gatherers who moved around a lot and didn't carry much with them.
As the team continues digging, they discover yet another set of human remains about 85 centimeters below the ground.
It's fragments of a skull, teeth, and parts of various leg bones. But that's not all. there are 24 stone artifacts with the body, most of them in a tidy pile near the hip. So clearly this was a person treated with reverence. But who were they?
About a kilometer to the north of Willamaya-Pata, another burial site had been discovered 18 years earlier.
It contained the remains of 16 individuals, 2 of whom showed evidence of violent trauma. One of the bodies had a large hole in the left parietal bone, and a dart point was found between the ribs and the sternum.
It looks like this person likely suffered a violent death. Given all the projectile points found in the area, maybe there was a battle between these two groups. These highland communities would have been exploring new and fragile cooperative dynamics that could have led to competition.
But radiocarbon dating shows that the remains discovered with evidence of injury nearby are over 1,000 years younger than the ones found with the grave goods at Willamaya-Pata.
The team conducts a study of the bones, analyzing their stable oxygen and carbon isotopes. The higher the elevation where people live, the lower the number of oxygen isotopes will be present, and the greater the number of carbon isotopes.
Based on the results, it's determined that these people lived permanently at high altitude, but lower than the Titicaca Basin. So it's likely that this area was used for seasonal habitation.
But why would they come here? With the dry conditions, limited resources, and low oxygen, it's not exactly a welcoming environment.
Further excavations at the Willamaya-Pata site uncover something unexpected given the area's inhospitable reputation.
There are fragments of animal bones, mostly large mammals, like deer and camels, but there are 106 unidentified fragments.
This is quite surprising given the scarcity of vegetation and the overall dryness of the region. It doesn't seem to be able to support such a diverse range of wildlife.
As the team gets a closer look at the artifacts left at the burial site at Willamaya-Pata, the possible role of this individual becomes clearer.
These are tools for hunting big game. Given the presence of so many animal bones, this area was probably used as a seasonal hunting ground.
The projectile points would have been for bringing down the animals, probably with an outladdle, a spear-throwing device used by ancient hunters.
The knives would have been used for removing the animal's organs, and the scrapers and stones were for processing the animal's hides.
Because most of the tools were found in a neat pile next to the body, they were likely placed there in a container of some kind, probably a leather satchel that disintegrated over the years. This was a symbolic act of respect shown to a skilled hunter.
The team attempts to further analyze the bones to gather more information, but they are too degraded to be studied for certain attributes. However, a new kind of testing might just be able to unlock their secrets. A recently developed technique examines the proteins in the enamel of the teeth, specifically a protein called amylogenin, and the tested sample provides a rather surprising result. In Peru, on the shores of Lake Titicaca, archaeologists examining the remains from the burial at Willamaya-Pata make a stunning realization.
The remains belong to a woman, between 17 and 19 years old. This is a major discovery because it's often assumed that in early hunter-gatherer societies, the males did all of the hunting.
This discovery isn't the first time that a prehistoric female thought to be a hunter has been found. In 1989, a road crew accidentally unearthed human remains in a gravel quarry near the town of Buell in south-central Idaho, USA.
Analysis of the bones revealed that the individual was a Paleo-Indian woman who was roughly between 17 and 21 years old when she died, about 10,000 years ago.
Along with the body, they found several grave goods, including a tool made of bone and a large stem projectile point, similar to what was discovered at Willamaya-Pata.
It's not just these hunting discoveries that are causing people to rethink traditional gender roles in the ancient world. There's also significant evidence to suggest that some prehistoric women were not only hunters, but celebrated warriors defending their people as well.
A team of researchers recently performed DNA analysis on the remains of a 13-year-old Scythian child warrior discovered in Siberia in 1988.
For decades, the scientific community assumed that it was a male because they found a quiver with arrows, a birch bow, and an axe with the body, grave goods that are traditionally associated with males.
But the DNA revealed that the remains actually belonged to a female, thought to have died about 2,600 years ago.
In order to expand on the significance of the findings at Willamayapata, researchers analyzed burials across the Americas, studying 429 sites dated from between 8,000 and 14,000 years ago.
They found that only 27 of them had the tools for hunting big game. Surprisingly, 10 of these sites contain the remains of females.
Based on this data, the team concludes that between 30 and 50% of prehistoric big game hunters might have been female, but some aren't convinced.
It's a very small sample size to arrive at such a sweeping conclusion.
It's also important to remember that the interpretation of grave goods is not so cut and dry. Certain practices may differ across cultures and generations.
But given the sheer volume of hunting artifacts found with the body, it's safe to assume that the female remains found at Willamayapata belonged to a hunter of some renown.
While the team admits that further research is required to substantiate the conclusions of the study, this discovery, along with the growing body of evidence across the field, may force us to reconsider our preconceived notions about the role of women in prehistoric societies. The Arabian Peninsula features not only massive swaths of arid landscapes of sand and rock, but also huge lava fields, or harat. One of these fields, named Harat Khaybar, covers 14,000 square kilometers of Saudi Arabia.
The Harat contains a wide range of volcanic rock types and extraordinary landforms. And there are over 400 kilometers of unexplored passages and at least 40 lava tubes here.
These tubes are natural tunnels created by a lava flow. At the end of an eruption, after the lava starts flowing, it drains and leaves these tunnels, caves, and entire cave systems beneath the ground.
While exploring and mapping this fascinating landscape, speleologists or cave scientists ventured deep underground inside a cave known as Jersan and uncover something terrifying.
Deep within this enormous lava cave system is a massive cache of bones, hundreds of them. And beyond what's visible, there are presumably many, many more underneath the layers of undisturbed sediment.
Not only is this a horrific boneyard, but animal snarls echoing from the depths of the cave, believed to be made by wolves, are enough to send you running for the surface.
The volcanic field was formed by multiple eruptions along a 100-kilometer vent system over a period of 5 million years. And the most recent eruption on record happened between 13 to 1400 years ago.
Archaeologists are called in to investigate Jersan, the longest lava tube in Arabia recorded to date, measuring 1,481 meters. Its length is divided into 3 separate passages by 2 areas of structural collapse. The average height of the cave passages are 8 to 12 meters, with a 45-meter width.
Jersan travels underground from east to west. The western passage, where the huge cache of bones was found, has only one entrance and is 341 meters long.
While there are a few other smaller deposits and scattered bones in other areas of the tunnel, the extraordinary quantity of bones found at the end of the Western Passage are likely the work of predators, who are creatures of habit and tend to bring their prey back to the same location again and again.
Given the piles of bones and the accompanying bone-chilling growls, Jersan earned the nickname Wolf Den. So maybe that's what it is, the den of some very well-fed wolves.
The Arabian wolf is a desert-adapted subspecies native to the Arabian Peninsula and is a protected species in Saudi Arabia.
Arabian wolves are one of the smallest subspecies of wolves on the planet. Their small stature likely helps them adapt to life in a hot, dry climate.
While wolves do use caves as dens, they tend to stick to the mouth of the cave. So a wolf den nearly 350 meters underground would be very out of character.
Also, wolves tend to consume their prey at their kill sites and do not accumulate a lot of bones in their dens like the cache discovered here. So that growl the team heard was probably not coming from a wolf. So what other animal could be responsible?
At the end of a lava tunnel in Saudi Arabia, in an area dubbed the Wolf Den, the discovery of a massive pile of bones has experts lost in the dark. Examining the cache, archaeologists count a total of 1,917 bones and teeth, of which 1,073 are identifiable. The identified bones belong to at least 14 different animal species.
They belong to horses, goats, and cattle. And there are even ostrich shells here too.
Nearly 2,000 remains of so many different animals. This was the aftermath of a massive carnivorous feast. But who was doing the feasting?
Radiocarbon dating of a selection of the bones proves that they range in age from 6,839 to 439 years old. This is a wide expanse of time in which many more varieties of wildlife would have been living in the region.
The bones are inspected for weathering, chemical corrosion, abrasion, and carnivore or rodent damage. They range from completely recognizable with scraps of dehydrated tissue still attached, to highly decayed bone fragments and splinters. But two skull fragments stand out from the pile.
These two skull caps are undoubtedly human. Could they be here as victims, or were they the predators themselves?
However, there is no significant evidence of human presence in the wolf den. The volume of bones in the Western Passage, including the human skulls, are not likely the result of human activity.
Each bone and fragment is examined under a 10 to 20 times magnification with different exposures to thoroughly view the remains. Then, the bones with areas of unique surface damage or wear are examined under 80 times magnification and show very compelling results.
42% of the bones show evidence of having been eaten by carnivores. This includes gnaw marks, partially digested bones, and rounding from licking. So humans are definitely off the table.
Some of the tooth impressions are linked to rodents, and there are a number of distinct quills found throughout the length of Jirsan. Perhaps porcupines, known as the bone collectors of the animal kingdom, could be responsible.
The cave dwellings of an African crested porcupine are littered with hundreds, if not thousands, of bones. And, though small, porcupines have been known to take on and kill large cats.
While porcupines do gnaw on items like bone and wood to shave down their perpetually growing incisors, they're actually herbivores. So it's unlikely that a porcupine, or even a prickle of porcupines, would have taken down so much large prey and dragged them underground just to gnaw on the bones.
Carnivores capable of this kind of damage include large cats, like lions, cheetahs, and leopards, many of which are critically endangered or extinct in this part of the world.
Asiatic or Persian lions lived across the Arabian Peninsula until the 19th century, but now only survive in India. The large Asiatic cheetah is now only found in Iran, and there are less than 200 Arabian leopards left in the wild in the mountains of Saudi Arabia.
These big cats could have been on the prowl in this region during the early Holocene period, and would have enjoyed the variety and quantity of the remains found here as part of a healthy cat diet. However, big cats don't tend to live in such deep caves, and they prefer dining on their prey right out in the open.
Turning back to Jirsan, archaeologists examine the tunnel floor for more clues. Among the sediment and guano deposits, they find hundreds of fossilized fecal specimens known as coprolites.
The majority of coprolites collected here have a white appearance with a crumbly texture and globular shape, with either a single pellet or fused pellet appearance. This species is consistent with one carnivore in particular, the hyena.
While not the largest carnivorous predator, what they lack in size, they make up for in design. Their distinct and powerful necks and elongated front legs allow them to pull and move kill over great distances.
Striped hyenas are cave-dwelling predators who do call Saudi Arabia home. They're a smaller species than their famed African cousins, weighing only 50 kilograms. And hyena poop is famously white due to its high calcium content as a result of digesting so much bone.
They have a digestive system that kills the bacteria in scavenged meat, and their powerful jaws and razor-sharp teeth can reduce whole skeletons, hooves and all, to these piles of fragments and undigested bone shards.
Then we have the cave itself. Hyenas are not as nomadic as many other predators and have a distinct family structure that binds them together in groups called cackles.
As such, hyenas actually spend a lot of their time hanging out in cavernous dens, complete with the bones of all the creatures they prey on. One den was even found at 490 meters deep into a cave. That's 150 meters deeper than the den at Jarsan.
Experts confidently believe the cache of bones at the bottom of the western passage of Jarsan belong to a striped hyena den. This is where the hyena cackle not only filled the cave with the evidence of their feasts, but likely the wailing and laughter hyenas are known for, which could explain the terrifying sounds the discovery team heard echoing from the depths of the cave. Across the huge, inhospitable expanse of North Africa's Sahara Desert is Tunisia's Gulf of Hammamet.
Tunisia's climate varies considerably due to the influence of the Mediterranean Sea and the Sahara Desert.
Given its strategic location on the Mediterranean, it has seen an incredibly diverse range of people trading with, settling in, and even colonizing the area over thousands of years, giving it a unique history.
In the days following a very heavy windstorm, beachgoers noticed something odd emerging from the sand in the shallow waters of the Gulf. Strangely shaped stones just beneath the waves.
Wind and water are always chipping away at coastlines, altering these landscapes over time. But these rocks seem entirely out of place on the seafloor. Perhaps they're man-made.
Strange items have been known to wash up on shores after storms, everything from beached whales and trash to shipwrecks and bottled messages. So while these rock formations are unnatural, they're not entirely unique given the circumstances.
As word of their discovery spread, teams of interested investigators descended upon the Gulf in search of answers.
Divers take to the water and quickly learn that these are not displaced rocks, nor are they trash shifted by the storm. These are blocks, 100% man-made building blocks with right angles and hewn flat surfaces.
Actually, given the amount of algae present, these stones have clearly been underwater for a very long time. So where did they come from?
Expanding their underwater search, not only do they find more blocks, but they discover connected foundations and structures poking up from the sand and sea growth.
A few loose stones could be explained, but intact building foundations? That's a surprise. Whatever it is we're looking at used to be above the water. So what happened here?
A discovery lost to the sands of Neapolis, Tunisia, has archaeologists stumped. Limestone has been extensively used as building blocks in the Mediterranean basin since the first constructions made by humans. Expanding their search on land, they hope to encounter ruins that could help explain the discovery.
In the grassy area just beyond the beach is a massive foundation made of similar blocks to the ones found in the water. It's palatial, and it appears to be built around a central water feature and courtyard structure.
Its design is reminiscent of classic Roman villas dated to the middle of the 4th century.
It's as elegant and well-designed as those found 1,300 kilometers away in Rome. Were the Tunisians fans of Roman design? Who built these and why?
Thousands of years ago, the entirety of the Mediterranean Sea and every surrounding piece of land that touched the coast was absorbed into the booming Roman Empire.
Over 2,000 years ago, the northern coast of Africa was prized for its fertile agricultural lands, and it became known as the breadbasket of the empire due to its abundant supply of grain.
Considering the number and quality of historic Roman sites found across Tunisia, the area was clearly favored by the elites of the empire.
Palatial villas for the wealthy, functional aqueducts, ornate bathhouses, and communal sites for entertainment were built throughout the country at great expense.
Signs of the Roman good life exist across the Gulf region of Tunisia. But there are no ruins of farms in the immediate vicinity, so where did this wealth come from?
On the grounds of the villa known as the House of Nymphs, there is an intricately decorated ceramic basin, complete with a mosaic inlay, featuring the image of the god Oceanus surrounded by fish that may offer some insights.
The artwork implies a bounty of fish from the sea. Perhaps the seaside community was flourishing due to a thriving fishing industry.
Teams of experts are called in to examine the site, and using drone imaging, they are able to create a connected grid of all the known structures on land and beneath the water. The submerged discoveries appear to match the layout and engineered design of the above-ground ruins.
This combines the known area on land with another 20 hectares of structures in the Gulf into one large connected site or city.
Few historical records exist for the area, but the references we do have indicate this could be the rumored Roman metropolis of Neapolis, founded by Julius Caesar after his war against Pompey.
Neapolis was originally established in the 5th century BCE as a Phoenician outpost. The Phoenicians were an ancient civilization of merchants, traders, and colonizers originating in the eastern Mediterranean, primarily located in modern Lebanon and coastal Syria. But the city was lost to the Romans in 146 CE.
It's likely due to its frequent and often violent changes in government that there are so few records of its history. But with little to go on, and nearly half the site underwater, investigations must continue.
On the periphery of the underwater site, divers locate a large foundation with massive embedded tanks, large engineered stone basins. There are hundreds of them.
The tanks are often built in sets of 3. They're about 2 meters deep, and they are lined with ancient concrete. They appear to be connected through pipes from the outer tanks to the inner, larger basin.
These tanks are very familiar. They've been found throughout the Roman Empire, but rarely in these numbers. These are garum tanks.
Garum tanks are vats where ungutted fish are salted, seasoned, left to liquefy, ferment, and then dry in the sun.
The bacteria present in the fish intestine is the secret ingredient of the fermentation process. It's a very smelly, very long process that results in the collection of a clear fish sauce in the central basin, which is packed with protein and flavor.
Historians believe it was served along with meats, vegetables, and fruits, and was even thought to be an aphrodisiac.
Continuing the exploration of the beachside area, experts come across another large ruin. But this is not a Roman villa. It appears to have a more functional design.
Along the grounds of this large property are more garum tanks. These above-ground ruins even contain the pungent residue of fish bones and guts. So it's likely this was a Roman garum factory.
Garum was the favorite condiment of the empire, and due to its extreme salt content, it could last for years. The underwater discovery of hundreds of tanks here, combined with the tanks on land, point to the city being a major production hub.
If this were a successful garum factory town, the producers would need some way to package and sell their liquid gold throughout the empire. Amphora was just the ticket. They were a specific type of two-handled ceramic vessel used to transport liquids, including garum.
Amphoras that are believed to have been made in Neapolis feature a ring-like rim, molded outer face with a thin, elongated neck, and wide, 3-grooved handles. And they have been found throughout the Roman Empire.
What we now know is that Neapolis became the hub of garum production for the Roman Empire. But there is something fishier than the smell of garum going on here. How did 20 hectares of the city end up underwater? Lost to the world for millennia.
The discovery of ancient garum facilities in Neapolis explains the affluence of the region at the time. But the mystery of the structures found in Tunisia's Gulf of Hammamet remains unsolved. The Mediterranean and northern coast of Africa sit on very active tectonic plates, leading to increased earthquake activity.
It's possible a quake could have wreaked this kind of havoc, but there are no records or physical evidence here of any earthquake capable of dropping a city into the sea.
While no earthquakes were registered at that time along the African coast, nearly 2,000 kilometers away in Alexandria, records show that the city was devastated by a massive tsunami.
On July 21, 365 CE, the Roman historian Ammianus Marcellinus wrote, "The solidity of the whole earth was made to shake and shudder, and the sea was driven away. Its waves were rolled back, and it disappeared, before returning to destroy the city in its wake."
Over 80% of tsunamis are caused by earthquakes. By following the displaced soil and sediment samples from the bottom of the Mediterranean, experts are able to track Alexandria's tsunami to its source.
It's believed, based on the current evidence, that the wave originated as a result of an earthquake at the island of Crete, 654 kilometers away from Alexandria.
It's estimated that the quake would have had a rating of up to 8.5 on the Richter scale in order to have caused the devastation registered along the coasts of North Africa, Spain, and Greece. That's a huge earthquake, and yet no major wave came to Neapolis' shores.
So it wasn't an earthquake or a tsunami that sunk half the city. Whatever happened in Neapolis seems to have taken a slower and more insidious path.
Experts now believe that the Crete earthquake and subsequent tsunami created another unexpected consequence: an underwater landslide off the coast of ancient Neapolis.
If proven true, it would have had a huge destabilizing effect on the coastline of Tunisia. As the undercurrent swept sands deeper into the sea, the ground along the coast would have been infiltrated by water.
The theory is that Neapolis likely suffered from liquefaction, which ultimately led to the city sinking into the sea.
Liquefaction occurs when loosely packed, waterlogged soil at or near ground level loses its strength or structural integrity in response to vibration in the ground.
The loss of major elements of the city and its garum production would have dealt a huge blow to the Roman Empire, which itself was already nearing the point of collapse.
Interestingly, waves were the key to finding the lost city of Neapolis, as well as the source of its demise so many years ago.
Today, the modern town of Nabil, which happens to mean Neapolis, stands watch over what remains of the ancient Roman city, both above and below the sea. A testament to the unique and connective history of the area. Towering 300 meters above the expanse of southern Mongolia's Gobi Desert, the sand dunes at Hongren Els are a dramatic change from the otherwise flat surroundings.
The Gobi stretches across a variety of different ecoregions. Sand dunes give way to hard-packed rock desert, which transitions to salt marshes and lakes.
But one thing that the entire region has in common is how little rain it receives, only about 40 millimeters a year.
That's an incredibly low amount of rainfall. To put things into perspective, Australian deserts average around 250 millimeters a year.
The sand dunes are some of the biggest and most magnificent in Mongolia, drawing people from far and wide. But it's not just the dunes that draw gasps of wonder. Researchers visiting the area encounter an otherworldly, deafening sound that makes their bodies vibrate.
It's all-encompassing. The sound is this low-pitched drone that sounds as though it's coming from everywhere all at once. It's a rich baritone, almost as if someone or something is singing. It's almost unbelievable that it's actually happening. But where could the sound be coming from?
It's a pretty frightening sound. It adds to the mystery of this entire area, which occupies a dramatic and important space in human history.
Over the course of centuries, travelers and tradesmen alike struggled their way across this ruthless environment. And because of this, we have many accounts detailing their experiences.
The researchers began to investigate this auditory phenomenon that has mystified every person who has encountered it ever since it was first recorded in a 9th century Chinese manuscript.
In the 13th century, Marco Polo also famously wrote about a certain inexplicable sound that terrified everyone who encountered it.
The singing can last for more than a minute, and it registers at a pretty low frequency and at over 100 decibels. This is incredible. It's louder than a jet engine.
The sounds appear to be originating from far away. Some people say that they're actually spirits residing between the dunes, looking to lure people away from their companions.
It'd be hard to prove that spirits are at work here. And although there are plenty of things in this world that can't be explained, the scientists believe that this is not one of them.
If you've ever heard a swarm of locusts or cicadas, you might think that they could cause such a disruptive sound. But when you listen closely, these sounds in the desert are very different.
And while earthquakes have been known to make loud, booming sounds, there's been no seismic activity picked up around the dunes when this sound occurs. So if it isn't the result of animals or plate tectonics, you wonder if it could be the sand that has something to do with it. It's the one thing there's a lot of around here.
A bizarre audio phenomenon discovered in the Gobi Desert has been puzzling the scientific community for years. Their search for answers sends them to the continent of Australia. The sand at Hyams and Whitehaven Beach famously emit loud squeaks when people walk across them.
But these mousy squeaks are much shorter than the meditative sounds heard among the dunes of Mongolia. They're also more high-pitched.
They don't really compare whatsoever. Measurements reveal that they are in the 500 to 2500 hertz range, whereas these sounds in Mongolia measure below 300 hertz, a much lower frequency.
Of course, this is a totally different sound, but could the physical mechanisms causing the sand to squeak be similar to what's happening in the Gobi Desert?
Examination of the sands at the Australian beaches reveal that this high-pitched sound only happens if the sand grains are composed of quartz and have a rounded shape.
The squeak happens when the similarly sized quartz grains rub against each other and start vibrating. The vibration then transfers its energy to the tiny air pockets surrounding the sand grains. This energy then reaches our ears in the form of a squeak.
Also, the sand only squeaks as a result of someone or something interacting with it. But in the Gobi, even if the scientists don't make a move, this noise will still occur.
Research reveals that it is not only in Mongolia where people have witnessed the phenomenon. The singing sands have been encountered in many of the world's deserts.
There are reports of these booming or singing sounds in the deserts of Morocco and Oman. And in the US, the Eureka Dunes of Death Valley have mystified visitors for years.
The Eureka sand dunes are the tallest dunes in the state of California. They rise approximately 200 meters from the desert floor. Researchers at the Eureka Dunes notice that when the winds pick up, these strange sounds increase in frequency.
Wind can cause a whole range of sounds, but it doesn't have the capacity to cause these feelings of vibrations inside the body.
While observing the dunes, they notice that sand avalanches are triggered by the wind. A sand avalanche happens when the angle of the sand accumulated at the top of a dune reaches a critical point where it's incapable of supporting its own weight.
Usually, a couple of seconds after the avalanche, this booming, singing sound occurs. So it's possible that the sand's movement is somehow causing these sounds.
In order to better understand what processes are taking place, the scientists bring an instrument known as a geophone, a device used to measure vibrations. If the earth, or in this case the sand, is vibrating, the geophone can measure how much. They place the geophone not on the face of the dune, but on the flat ground beneath it. They then trigger a sand avalanche and wait to see if the geophone registers anything.
Sure enough, the geophone registers the vibrations rippling through the dune and continuing along the valley floor. So the sand is somehow causing these sounds, but there has to be more at play here.
Additionally, when the sand on the valley floor is agitated, the geophone picks up the vibrations. This means the grains of sand are rubbing against each other, but most importantly, the telltale drone remains absent. So whatever is happening must exclusively involve the structure of the sand dune.
Hoping that the dune itself may shed some light on the mystery, the researchers consider its structure and how it is formed.
A dune is essentially created by wind blowing sand across a landscape. As it does, little piles begin to accumulate. And as more and more sand gathers on top of these piles, a gap is formed in front of them.
As it grows, it does so in layers, and we're talking tons of sand here. Remember, these dunes are hundreds of meters tall. As the dune gets bigger, the sand in its core is compacted by all of the sand that's above it.
A sand dune can only reach a certain height. Once the opposite side of the dune reaches an angle of around 33 degrees, it will self-regulate, releasing avalanches that cascade down its face.
Ground-penetrating radar reveals that the top layer of the dune is around 1.5 to 2 meters of loosely packed sand. Below that is a super densely packed mass of sand that's almost like concrete. But it's on top of the outer layer where the avalanching occurs.
Curious about the properties of this top layer, the scientists look at its seismic velocity, its ability to carry seismic waves.
The physical properties of the dune's top layer allow the vibration to travel through it at a specific velocity, while the dense concrete-like sand below it only reflects the vibrations right back at it.
The scientists theorize that as the sand is avalanching, the vibrations created by the moving sand are trapped and reverberate throughout the top layer.
The top layer is acting like an amplifier of the vibrations caused by the sliding sand. This has the same effect that the body of a guitar has. When you strum a chord, you don't get any reverberating sound unless you have the body of an instrument to capture it.
Amazingly, it creates its own feedback loop, which, as we've heard, can be both terrifying and beautiful.
The phenomenon of the singing sands can really be characterized as nature's true instrument, playing these long, drawn-out notes for humanity since time immemorial.